Her face, lit by the flickering orange glow, was the last straw. The caption was innocuous enough, cozy night, but the location tag screamed betrayal. Whispering Pines Cabin, the place Sarah knew I'd been trying to book for months for us. My thumb hovered over the repost button. Goodbye. I typed, a single word loaded with years of misplaced trust. Then, a scorched earth policy. Delete, delete, delete. Every photo, every memory, gone. Like she never existed. A clean break. Or so I thought, before the real hell began. It wasn't always like this. Of course, back then, Sarah was different. Not the Instagram influencer version that haunted my nightmares, but a real person. We met at that awful corporate retreat, team building through trust falls, or some such nonsense. She was the only one who seemed to recognize the absurdity of it all. Her eyes met mine across the room as the regional manager face-planted into Brenda from accounting. That shared smirk? Instant connection. I'm Ben, by the way. Or at least, that's what I answered to. Before Sarah, I was the guy who color-coded his spreadsheets and actually enjoyed performance reviews. A goddamn golden retriever in human form. Naive? Sure. But I worked hard, paid my taxes, and genuinely believed in happily ever after. I was an easy mark, I guess. A project manager, ironically enough, who completely failed to manage the biggest project of my life. And Sarah? She was vibrant. An artist, or so she claimed. More accurately, she was a barista with a side hustle and mixed media expression, which translated to gluing glitter onto driftwood and selling it for exorbitant prices at craft fairs. I admired her hustle, though. I was stuck in corporate Droneville, pushing paper and attending pointless meetings while she was following her passion. Or so I thought at the time. Then the burnout started. The endless complaining about the toxic energy at the coffee shop, the lack of creative fulfillment. Suddenly, everything was a microaggression or a trigger. Self-care became her new religion. And I was apparently not invited to the services. The constant negativity started to wear me down, but being the supportive boyfriend, I bit my tongue and nodded along, suggesting yoga retreats and aromatherapy. Idiot. And then there was Chad. Tall, conventionally handsome, and radiating that effortless confidence that only comes from a trust fund and zero real-world problems. He started working at the coffee shop, and suddenly, Sarah had a work husband. Don't be ridiculous, she'd laugh, rolling her eyes when I raised an eyebrow. He's just a friend. Famous last words, right? My gut churned, but I played it cool. Didn't want to seem jealous or insecure. What a sucker. The girls' nights started happening more frequently. Just venting about work, she'd say, already halfway out the door. The vagueness was infuriating. I'd ask innocent questions, how's Brenda doing? And get met with a blank stare. Brenda, apparently, had been replaced by a rotating cast of characters I'd never met. My anxiety ratcheted up, but I plastered on a smile. Have fun, babe. Be safe. Inside, I was screaming. Then came the bomb. I need space to heal, she announced one evening, eyes glistening with manufactured sincerity. I can't be a good partner to you right now. I need to focus on myself. Space to heal? From what? The soul-crushing weight of gluing glitter onto driftwood? I should have challenged her, demanded answers. But I was so conditioned to be the understanding boyfriend that I just nodded dumbly. Whatever you need, I mumbled, already feeling the first sting of betrayal. Space. Right. 2 days later, scrolling through Instagram. Yeah, I know. I should have unfollowed her. I saw it. The fire pit. The goddamn Whispering Pines cabin. And Sarah, beaming like a Cheshire cat, a wine glass in her hand. But it wasn't just the location. It was him. Chad, the just a friend. Lurking in the background, conveniently framed by the flickering flames. My world tilted. Disbelief gave way to a cold, simmering rage. The repost was a reflex, a digital middle finger to the world. But deleting the entire account? That was deliberate. A symbolic act of self-preservation. I wanted to erase her, to scrub her existence from my digital footprint. But the internet never forgets, does it? And neither did my mind. The immediate aftermath was a strange mix of liberation and crushing loneliness. The rage simmered, slowly morphing into a deep, unsettling resentment. The next few days were a blur of self-recrimination. Why hadn't I seen it coming? The girls' nights, the chat obsession, the constant need for validation on social media. It all clicked into place, a horrifying mosaic of manipulation and deceit. I replayed every conversation, every interaction, searching for the telltale signs I'd missed. The red flags were everywhere, flapping in the breeze like goddamn victory banners. That's when Liam and Dave staged the intervention. Showed up at my apartment with a 12-pack and a mission. Dude, you look like hammered shit. Liam said, bypassing the pleasantries. Dave, ever the diplomat, chimed in. We're here for you, man. But let's be real. She was playing you. Brutal honesty, but exactly what I needed. They'd seen it all before, been through the relationship ringer themselves. Time for some hard truths. Remember Karen? Liam asked, referencing his ex-wife. Sound familiar? Dave chimed in with his own horror stories. Dates who ghosted him after expensive dinners, women who constantly complained but refused to change anything. It was a shared language of disappointment, a symphony of bad decisions and broken promises. I wasn't alone. Misery loves company, sure. But there was something cathartic about realizing I wasn't the only sucker in the room. Later that night, fueled by cheap beer and righteous anger, I stumbled down the red pill rabbit hole. Online forums, articles, YouTube videos, a whole ecosystem dedicated to exposing female nature and warning men about the dangers of modern relationships. It was intense. Some of it was outright misogynistic garbage, but other parts resonated with a chilling familiarity. The shock of recognition was almost physical. Had I been living under a rock? And then the financial reckoning hit. I remembered the promotion I'd turned down to stay in town for Sarah, the money I'd sunk into her art projects. The way I'd always picked up the slack when her barista gig didn't cover rent. I justified it as supporting her dreams, being a good partner. Now, it felt like I'd been funding her escape plan. A slow, methodical fleecing, disguised as love. I flashed back to Sarah's subtle manipulations. The woe-is-me routine when she didn't get her way, the constant need for validation. The way she always positioned herself as the victim, even when she was clearly in the wrong. She needed rescuing. Constantly. And like a damn fool, I always showed up with my cape and a credit card. Red flag number 3, maybe 4, I'd lost count. It wasn't just Sarah, though. I had to admit I played a role. My desperate need to be the good guy, to avoid conflict at all costs, had blinded me to the obvious. I was so afraid of being perceived as jealous or controlling that I let her walk all over me. I prioritized her feelings over my own intuition. I was a goddamn doormat, and she wiped her feet on me with glee. A few days later, I texted her. Short, to the point. So, the cabin? The response was swift and predictably infuriating. I'm sorry you feel that way, she wrote. It was just a fringe trip. You're being really insecure. Insecure? I almost laughed. Space to heal apparently meant space to bang Chad in the cabin you wanted. The sheer audacity. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard, itching to unleash a torrent of rage. But something stopped me. It wasn't forgiveness. It was detachment. I typed a simple reply. Enjoy your trip, Sarah. I won't bother you again. Cold. Factual. No emotion. It was the most powerful thing I could have said. I'd finally stopped playing her game. Of course, she couldn't let it go. A barrage of texts followed, each one a masterclass in gaslighting. I was overreacting, she claimed. It was an innocent trip. Chad was like a brother to her. I was being toxic and controlling. The classic Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. I almost admired the efficiency of it all. Almost. That was it. I blocked her number, her email, every social media account. Complete digital ghosting. I cut off the supply of my attention, the very thing she craved. It was a small act of defiance, but it felt monumental. The silence that followed was deafening, but it was my silence. And slowly, painstakingly, I started to rebuild. The first few weeks were rough. The apartment felt empty. The silence amplified by the absence of her constant chatter. Anger flared, loneliness gnawed, but beneath it all, a new feeling began to emerge. Liberation. I was free. Free from the drama. The manipulation, the endless need for validation. The weight on my chest began to lift, replaced by a growing sense of possibility. I started hitting the gym again, channeling my frustration into deadlifts. I threw myself into my work, chasing that promotion I'd once dismissed. I even picked up that guitar I'd abandoned years ago. I was rebuilding my life, brick by brick, on my own terms. No more glitter-covered driftwood, no more emotional blackmail, just me and my own damn projects. The promotion came faster than I expected. Turns out, focusing on spreadsheets instead of emotional support pays dividends. And then there was Emily. Smart, independent, and refreshingly devoid of any artistic expression. She actually laughed at my color-coded spreadsheets. Liam and Dave vetted her, of course. Rule number 1. Trust, but verify. The bar is now very, very high. I started to see modern relationships for what they often are, transactional, disposable, fueled by social media validation and the constant pursuit of something better. The initial romantic ideals I had were shattered, replaced by a cynical but pragmatic worldview. I wasn't bitter, exactly. Just realistic, and a hell of a lot more careful. It's funny. Now that I see the light, I notice the patterns everywhere. The subtle competition between women, the strategic deployment of tears, the constant fishing for compliments. It's like living in a different world, a world where I can finally understand the rules of the game. And honestly, I'm not sure I even want to play anymore. So, yeah, I'm a bit cynical now. But it's a cynicism tempered by self-reliance and a healthy dose of skepticism. I'm no longer the naive golden retriever, eager to please. I'm a project manager, damn it. And from now on, I'm managing my projects, my finances, my life. No more outsourcing my happiness to someone else. Speaking of projects, my phone buzzed late last night. An unknown number. Curiosity piqued. I almost answered. Then I remembered. Her number was blocked. A new burner, no doubt. The message preview read, "Hey, I miss you." I smirked, silencing the phone. The satisfaction was quiet, but profound. The old Ben would have crumbled, but that Ben was dead. So here I am, wiser, stronger, and slightly more jaded. Did Sarah get away with it? Maybe. But I got something far more valuable. Myself. I learned a painful lesson about modern relationships, about female nature, and most importantly, about my own weaknesses. And that, my friends, is a project worth managing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a guitar to practice.